Hey, Motorman here, and I'm at Newport Richie Harley Davidson, and I'm about to take this bike for a ride. I think it's the best buy they've got on the lot. Whenever I do these reviews on the used motorcycles, I try to pick a bike I think would be of interest to you, my viewers, and also that happens to be an excellent buy, and here it is. This is the Electroglide Standard. They made this from, I believe, 2019 up until 2022. Comes standard with ABS, solo seat, no passenger pegs, but it has everything that you need for touring. This is a touring motorcycle, comes fully equipped. Of course, you got your bags, which hold plenty. If you want more, well, what I would do is I'd get a tour pack from Amazon for about 200 bucks. They come in black, so it's going to match this perfectly. Throw it on there, and you know, you're ready to go anywhere. But the best part of these bikes were brand new. They were right around $20,000. And this one, with only 7,000 miles, it's a 2022. It's priced at $13,300. I think that's a steal. What else are you going to buy, or Harley Davidson especially, for that kind of money? That's ready to go touring from day one. A couple of extras on this bike. It's got the rear crash guards, which is nice. Somebody put the LEDs on here, which is really good for, well, people to see you. It is just a great motorcycle, Harley touring bike, classic American style, for $13,300. Are you kidding me? All right, first thing I like to do, check maneuverability. As if you watch my channel, you know that Harley Davidson touring motorcycles are about the most, in fact they are the most nimble motorcycles in the heavyweight touring motorcycle range. That's because of the 64-inch wheelbase, 26-degree rake. As long as you know a little technique, head and highest friction zone, a little pressure on the rear brake, you can handle these bikes with the ease of a child's toy. So let's think about this. What do you need in a touring motorcycle? Well, you want a bike that's comfortable enough for all-day rides, 500-600 miles in a day. You need to have something blocking the wind because you don't want to get fatigued on a long day ride. You got that here with the Batwing fairing and the windshield that's on this bike. You want a smooth bike so it's not putting your hands to sleep, and you got that on, well, any Harley touring bike, especially the rubber mounted ones. And you want to be able to carry some stuff with you, because if you're going to take a long trip, you got to have your stuff with you. And this comes with the 2 saddlebags, and like I said, you could get a tour pack these days from Amazon. They're not bad. I've got one for about $150 to $200, depending on which size one you want. Get the king size tour pack, and you got enough for at least 5 or 6 days without having to do the laundry. If you need more than 2 saddlebags and a tour pack, get a car. Take your car on your trip, because that should be good enough for just about anybody, even 2 up. Yeah, 2 up, you know, you got the wife with you. She's going to have more stuff than you. So dedicate half of the tour pack to her and one of the saddlebags, and you got the other saddlebag and half the tour pack. But you don't have to go for big money to get a Harley Davidson touring bike these days. As I said, this bike is priced at $13,300. 7,000 miles, it's barely broken in. This has, by the way, the 107 motor, which puts out, I think, about 80 horsepower and 105 pounds-feet of torque, if I'm not mistaken. That's more than enough. You want more power, you know, there's all kinds of aftermarket stuff you could do. Keep in mind, though, when you add power, you're adding heat. So, you know, here in Florida, it might not be the best idea. But from what I've heard, put a cam in this bike, aftermarket cam or a Screaming Eagle cam, and you're just about got the same power as you would have with the 114, but even stock. And this bike has a stock exhaust. Even stock, it's just fine. It's got more power than you'll ever need. Again, torque is what you feel, and you got a lot of torque on all Harley Davidson big V twins. That's why people like them so much, is that torque. So if you're looking at, say, a new Street Glide, which this bike is very similar to, without the frills, you know, you're talking about 28,000 bucks. This bike being 3 years old and only 7,000 miles, yeah, you don't have a radio, but on my police bike didn't come with a radio, one of them anyway. I put a radio in. I think I spent about 350 bucks for a Bluetooth radio and 2 speakers, and that worked just fine. You could hear it up to about 75 miles an hour. If I wanted to make it louder and hear it above 80, yeah, you're gonna need a little amp. Again, about 100 bucks, and you're there. So if you must have a radio, it's got the compartment here, and they sell, aftermarket sells a piece that you can put just about any radio in, and it fits in there perfectly. It looks factory. As far as ride comfort, these are just fine. Maybe loaded up, 2 up. You might want to think about changing the rear shocks, because these, the standard came with the shorter shocks, 12-inch rear shocks, versus the 13 that you get on like the Ultra. And you could find those 13-inch shocks because so many people want to lower their bike, so there's a lot of the 13s for sale on eBay or Craigslist. So for that kind of money, like I said, 13.3. So if I were you, I would head down to Newport Richie Harley Davidson, tell them Motorman sent you. Take this bike out for a ride. Look it over really good. It's in excellent condition. If you want a touring bike, you don't need all the frills, and you don't want to spend a ton of money, well, this is it. You get the classic American style. Harley Davidson is famous for the big V-twin motor. Fine riding, fine handling motorcycle. Beautiful styling, classic American look, and all for well under 20 grand. Like I said, brand new, these were 20 grand. But that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed this. Hope you learned something, and you know, I'd appreciate if you subscribe and give me a thumbs up and comment below. Thanks for watching.